shows up, they can make themselves at home. Welcome, everybody. It's fun to have everybody here this afternoon. Today's class, we're going to work on introducing hip openers. So we'll incorporate many of the sun salutations that we have been working through in the last 3 classes. And now we're going to focus around the hip. So hip openers, a lot of people in their minds think the hips are just your bony hip point right here. Okay. What I want everybody to start thinking about when we start working hip openers is it's the actual circumference of this whole area, right? So we typically think of our hips right here. Oh, my hips are tight. But today we're going to be exploring, like, yes, the outer hips, but we're also going to be exploring the back body of the hips. So we talk about hamstrings a lot, or we talk about quadriceps being tight. That all connects directly to the back body of our hips, the front body of our hips, and then obviously this outer edge, and then into obviously the groin space in the inner legs. So you want to envision the whole circumference of your hip for hip openers, because truly your hip is it's a bone ball and socket, the bone itself, but you're working all of the tendons and tissues and muscles that build all around it. So today's focus, we're going to be working our sun salutations. We're still continuing to learn the chaturanga, work our shoulders, work our positioning with our feet, but then we're going to start to work today on front, side, back, hip openers. So sun salutations, some focus work, some wide leg stance, and then we're going to end today learning pigeon pose. So have any of you guys heard of pigeon pose at all? Okay. So pigeon pose is one of my favorite hip openers to learn. And it's one of my favorite hip openers to teach with props, because this is where most of us really need that extra support so that we can learn the appropriate positioning of pigeon pose. So, and then we'll end the lovely little savasana today. So with that being said, let's come to standing. We're going to start out with our half sun salutations. So we'll come to the top of our mat. We're going to focus hip distance apart with our feet, spread the toes. We're going to root down into those heels, palms open towards the front of the room. We're going to inhale the arms all the way up to the sky. For a second here, ground into the feet. And I want you to pull your shoulders down away from your ears. You're going to tuck those ribs and find that midline. Bring the hands together. We're going to bend our knees and come into a forward fold. Keeping those knees bent, fingertips to the floor, release the head. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway up. Exhale, back down, fingertips to the mat, head releases. Inhale, press into the heels. Come all the way up, extending the arms back up towards the sky. Root into the heels. Exhale, hands through to heart center. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins. Exhale, back down. Inhale to rise. Exhale. Good, one more. Inhale. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, hands to shins. Exhale, release it down. Good. Inhale to rise, bringing yourself all the way up, press into those heels, lengthen the arms, drop the shoulders, tuck the ribs, gaze towards those fingertips. And then exhale. Hands to heart center. Close the eyes here. Find the base of your feet. Spread the toes. Big toe, pinky toe, and heel rooting down into your mat. Feel the strength of the base of those feet. Lift those inner arches. Find the inner ankle, the inner knee, the inner pelvis, the belly button, the heart center, the throat, and out through the crown of the head, that beautiful midline. So we're gonna open the eyes, we're gonna go through full sun salutation here. So inhale the arms up. Exhale, bending the knees, release those fingers to the floor. Hands to shin, inhale halfway up. Exhale, back down. Hands to the mat, right foot steps back. Come into a low lunge. Okay, so you're gonna drop that back knee, release the toes. Place the hands on the floor and step that left foot back. Here we are, prepping for our chaturanga. So full plank, you have the choice here to drop your knees, lunge forward, bend those elbows, release the toes, drop the hips, press up, upward dog. Bend the knees, curl the toes, come into downward dog. So starting our hip openers, you're gonna take your right leg and I want you to lift it so that it's hip level to start with today. Press out through the ball mound of your right foot. So you're getting length. Now I want you to keep lifting that leg. Okay. Now rotate open through that right hip over to the right side and bend your knee. Flex your foot. Really launch that twist in the waist to open up the hips. Beautiful. You got it. Good. Release that foot down. Downward dog. Take a breath in downward dog. Good. When you're ready, inhale yourself into plank one more time. Drop the knees. Lunge forward, chaturanga, hover. Drop the hips, release the toes, lift up, upward dog. Press back, curl the toes, downward dog. Release the head. Take a breath here. Exhale out. Beautiful. Take your right foot, bring it forward. Come into that lunge. Find the foundation and then left foot to meet right, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, hands to shins. Exhale, back down. Inhale to rise, lift the arms high up towards the sky. And exhale, heels through. Heart center. We're gonna do the left side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend the knees. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, hands to shin. Exhale, back down, stepping the left foot back. So you're in that low lunge. Okay, you can release that back foot if you want. And then release the hands to the floor. Step the right foot back. Plank. Modified plank is always a really great place to be. Lunge forward. So as we're learning this chaturanga, take the stress off and drop the knees. Inhale, upward dog. Bend the knees, curl the toes. Downward dog. Beautiful. Left side. All right, here we go. Left leg's gonna come level with your hips. Just explore that lengthening of that leg. Now, lift the leg as high as you can. Beautiful. Now, bend the knee and open to the left. Twist that hip open. And imagine drawing the tip of your knee up towards the ceiling. Lift. There you go. Lift a little higher. You got it. Exhale. Release down. Downward dog. 2 breaths here. Slow. Steady with your breath. Beautiful. Your left foot's gonna come forward into that lunge. And when you're ready, right foot is gonna meet the left, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up.
Exhale, bring it down.
Beautiful.
Inhale, press into your feet, come all the way up to standing. And exhale, hands through heart center. Good. Warming up the body, incorporating a little bit more this time. Inhale, the arms up. Exhale, bend those knees, forward fold. Fingertips to the floor, release the head. Inhale, halfway up. And then exhale, bring it down. Now your right foot's gonna go back into that lunge, but this time, fully release that leg. I want you to release the toes. Okay? And walk the hands up to your left thigh. We are opening up the front of the hip here. Okay, so you can interlace your fingers on top of your thigh and lunge forward. Drop the pelvis down. And you're gonna feel this stretch front hip, even into your pelvic floor and groin. You can really just stay here for a few minutes. Okay. Maybe invite the arms up. Little bit deeper stretch. You can gaze up slightly towards the sky. If it feels okay. Exhale those hands to the mat. Curl your back toes. Lift it up. Step it back, downward dog. So, steady breath. Now we're gonna lift that right leg again. Lift it as high as you can. Now, in this position, pay attention to your arms. Equal pressing of the left arm and the right arm, okay? Strong foundation. Bend the right knee. Flex the foot. Now rotate open to the right. Lift that right tip of that knee up towards the sky. Opening the front body of the hips. It's challenging. Exhale, release those toes to the floor. Take a breath. Downward dog. Very nice. Now, from here, you're going to invite the right foot forward again into this high lunge. But this time you're going to walk your right foot all the way to the edge of your mat, and your right arm's going to come to the inside. Okay? So we have this kind of wider stance lunge today. And what you're going to do is you're going to draw that pelvis down towards the floor. You can even release that left knee if you would like. Okay. Working into that hip over. Now, we're going to challenge ourselves by opening up this right foot 45 degrees. So the tips of your toes might come off your mat. Okay. Now you're going to roll to the outer edge of your right foot and drop it open. You're like, now you're working the outer edges of your hip. You can feel it slightly. Okay. Step this foot forward more. If you can. Okay, now open the foot up more. This would have been a twister. As you drop to the outer edge of your right foot, you're feeling this opening into that front central hip pocket. Good. Come back to center with the knee. Okay. And then bring it parallel to your mat again. Ready? Step that foot back, and you're coming into plank. Drop the knees. Chaturanga, lean it forward, bend the elbows. Good. Hover. Drop the hips, lift the heart. Beautiful. Bend the knees, curl the toes, downward dog. Breath here. Hate to say it, we're not done on this side. Here we go. Right foot. You're gonna step it forward. One more time. High lunge. Leave it to the center of your mat. This is when it gets really fun, I promise. Okay, drop your back knee, your left knee, and release your toes. And I want you just to come up. Okay, we're going to explore the mobility in our
left side. So as you lunge forward, your forearm's gonna rest on this thigh for a second. And we're gonna lift this back foot up.
I don't either.
So that's what you're playing for. Take your blanket. Okay, pad your knee. And some of us are gonna lift. And that's all we're gonna do. Some of us are going to internally twist, and we might just grab this foot. Okay. I'm gonna help y'all get there.
Where are you?
You're internally rotating towards your right thigh. Lift your back foot and grab. Or just work your balance, lift the foot slightly above the floor.
There we go.
There you got it. Beautiful. All right. Release your foot, come back up. Don't lose hope. You'll get it. I promise. Okay, here we go. Now, what I want you to do here is you're gonna lift this back foot up. Okay? Take your left hand down to the floor. Just come to your fingertips. Internally rotate. You're just working an internal twist here. And working this lift. You don't have to do anything else. Or explore grabbing that foot again. Pull the foot towards your left sit bone and twist. Okay, beautiful. Release the foot. Turn your gaze to the floor. Hands to your mat. Step it back. We'll just go to downward dog. It won't make you do a vinyasa. Take a breath here. Gaze toward your fingertips and walk your toes to meet your hands. Come into a forward fold. Hang here for a moment. Nice. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway up. Exhale. Back down. And inhale. Draw yourself all the way up. Beautiful. Hands together. Bring it down through to heart center. Okay, from here, inhale. Take your arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway up. Exhale, back down. Step your all the way back into downward dog. Beautiful. From here, we're gonna come into plank. Okay, drop your knees. Lean forward, come into that chaturanga, feel that hover. Drop the hips, lift the heart. Upward dog, curl the toes, bend the knees, downward dog. Little vinyasa. Take a breath. Beautiful, invite your left foot forward. You're in a high lunge to start with. Okay, drop your left or your right knee. Release the toes. Come to the thighs. Am I doing the same side?
No.
Did we do this side?
No.
Totally confused myself. Okay, we're good. Lean in. Drop the pelvis. Lift the heart. Feel the opening into that right side. Maybe explore the arms going up. Reach. Open and lean forward. Beautiful. Exhale. Hands to the mat. Curl the back toe and lift. Then step your left foot back, downward dog. Take a breath here. Good. And we're gonna lift that left leg. Now, as you lift your left leg, I want you to gaze up towards your fingertips. Motivate those fingertips and the root of your palm of your hand to really root down into the mat. Lengthen the arms. Bend your left knee. Flex the foot. Beautiful. Roll open to the left. Draw the tip of that knee all the way up towards the sky. Lift. As you lift, lengthen the arms one more time. Press into the mat. Good job, you guys. Beautiful. Exhale, release. Downward dog.
Take a breath. Good. All right. Here we go. Left foot's gonna come forward again. And we're gonna drop the right knee. Make sure the blanket is underneath your knee. Okay, we're gonna just practice the twist. Maybe explore what that looks like. So start that internal twist first. Okay, so feel sort of the strength of that front body and lift the back leg. Could be all you got today. That's totally okay. Okay, or grab the foot. Okay, it's a balance. There's gonna be a wobble. Yep, it's all good. From here, you can release the right hand down. Okay. Twisting, just explore. Now, you feel your quadricep here more than you probably feel your hip. But the goal is that you loosen your quadricep so that your hip has more mobility, okay? All right, so exhale, release the hand. Place the hand in the mat. We're doing it backwards because I forgot the first one. You're coming into your lunge. And you're gonna walk your left foot to the edge of your mat and bring your right hand to the inside. Okay, so hands are underneath shoulders, left foot is wide. Now open the left foot up 45 degrees. Good. If it's really intense to be up on your back leg, drop your right knee and let it rest on the floor. Okay, there's no need to like activate that back leg if you feel like it's straining. Now roll to the outer edge of that left foot. Your left knee is falling open to the left. Okay. Several degrees of stretch here, right? Like if you activate that back right leg, might deepen that stretch a little bit more, might not be necessary. So feel it out. Good. And then from here, bring the tip of that knee back up. Walk that foot to the center, take your left hand to the outside. Curl the back toes, lift the back leg. And then draw that left foot back. Downward dog. Beautiful. From that downward dog, come down to the knees, releasing into child's pose. Knees wide, toes together, belly releases between the thighs. Forehead goes to the floor. Maybe it reaches, maybe it doesn't, that's not important. Good. I'm gonna take about 30 seconds here. In itself, child's pose offers its own form of a hip opener here. And you're settling into that belly center. And you're finding your breath. Ten more seconds. Okay, so from here, you're just gonna roll up to a seated position. Okay. Move your blanket off to the side. And from here, we're gonna face this wall. Bring your hands out in front of you and bring yourself into a wide leg forward fold. And we're gonna start with our hands on the floor. Okay.
I'm gonna put my head
So
right in the computer.
facing. Yeah, beautiful. Y'all got it. We're getting there. Okay. Your hands are underneath your shoulders here. Your feet are parallel to the front and back of your mat. So we're just lengthening through the spine. And from here, forward fold. So releasing the head. And see if you can release that head all the way down so that the arms can relax and your forearms sort of release
to the floor, they may not reach, it's not a big deal. But in this stance, I'm gonna invite you to bend your knees ever so slightly. So you won't have a straight leg in this pose. We're like loving up our hamstrings, giving permission to have a bend in the knees. But press to the outer edges of your feet. So this is where I want you to imagine that you have a little human is like taking its fingertips and it's pressing into the arches of your feet, getting you to lift that inner arch while you press the outer edges of your feet down into the earth. Keep your knees bent. Okay. And then from here, I want you to draw your hands to the waist and with your knees bent, press deeply into your feet as you inhale to come all the way up. Very good. Okay, so we are going to heel toe our feet slightly closer together this afternoon. Now, take your feet wide. Okay. And we're going to sit slightly down. So this is typically referred to as goddess pose. Okay. And I'm going to show you what happens to all of us in this pose. The butt goes out and the chest goes forward and we look like this. Okay. So hips are tight, quads are tight, hamstrings are tight. What does that do? It makes your whole entire front body cave in like this. Okay. So the shorter the stance, the more mobility you're going to have. So I want you to consciously try to imagine rolling the thighs open and keeping your knees above your ankles. Now tuck your tailbone and sit a little lower. Okay. This might be like as far as you need to go today. Now you're going to come forward and you're going to work your forearms into your inner thighs. Maybe the hands will grab the ankles. Okay, so we're just gazing down towards the floor. We are pressing our heels into the earth. Okay, and we're taking our elbows and we're kind of inviting the opening into this space. That inner leg is opening. Arms press inner knee, hands to shin or ankle. One more breath. Beautiful forward fold, straighten the legs. Feet are parallel, front, back of mat. Release the spine. Hang here for a minute. Find some inhales and some exhales. Good. From here, simply turn your right foot forward towards the front of your mat. Walk the hands forward, lift your back heel. And step your right foot back. Downward dog. Take a gaze at your fingertips, press into the ball mound of the thumb. And press each finger down into the mat. Lengthen the arms. Drop the head. Press the shoulders down the back body. Press your thigh bones back towards the back of the room. Maybe investigate lifting your toes up off the mat. Good, and then spread the toes back down. And bring your knees to the mat. Come to seated. So from here, we're going to kind of deconstruct pigeon pose. And the props you're going to need for pigeon pose are going to vary depending on how open your hips are. Blocks, bolster, blanket. Those are the three that we're just going to have handy as we work through these poses. So I'm going to demo getting into pigeon pose and then sort of the positioning, and then we're all going to do it together. So when you first start to investigate getting into pigeon pose, I recommend people come to hands and knees. So your knees are underneath your hips and your hands are underneath your shoulders. And we bring this right knee forward to our wrist to start with, okay? And then we're sort of exploring bringing the foot forward, okay? Then I walk my hands forward a little bit
and I inch my knee forward towards my right wrist a little bit. So I'm like inching my body forward. I'm not driving right into the pose. And I'm kind of assessing from here how tight I am, okay? Then from here, I'm going to draw my knee more towards the middle of my hands. And this is what's super common. We fall back, okay? Our hips are not parallel here by any means. So what we're doing is we're staying parallel to our hips. This is where I recommend starting with a blanket. And you bring it underneath one sit bone, your right sit bone, okay? And you sit down, but you don't lean, okay? So we're sitting into our right sit bone. And this left leg is reaching back towards the back of the mat. Some of us are gonna need extra love. So we're gonna sit on a bolster, maybe a bolster or block, it depends, okay? We're gonna feel it out. The goal is that both left and right hip are parallel to one another and the back leg is long. And we're gonna come to our fingertips to start with. So we're opening up the belly center. We're spreading the wings of our collarbones. We're staying up. Then eventually, we're gonna take a block. We're gonna come down to our forearms and we're gonna explore resting our forehead. Might be here, might be here, depending on how low we can go, okay? The goal here is to stay centered, not rolling to our right side, okay? So let's at least have our blanket right next to us. And we're gonna work into pigeon on our right side to start with. Maybe the bolster, okay? So come on to hands and knees. Hands are underneath shoulders, knees are underneath hips. And take your right knee and bring it towards your right wrist. Then walk your hands, I don't know, about a foot forward, okay? And then bring that knee a little closer to that right wrist. And walk this left leg back a little bit. Okay, so we're starting to kind of work away from one another. From here, draw the tip of that right knee towards the center. And maybe start to draw this foot out slightly. All right, so now you should sort of be in a hover. Your right sit bone should sort of be floating. I want you to take your prop to whatever height and have a seat. Okay, really consciously being aware that your right and your left hip are level. Okay, maybe walk that foot if it feels okay. Come to your fingertips. Press into the fingertips and lift. And so we're going to get opener into that left side. And then from here, you're going to fold down. Whatever amount. Maybe your forearms go to the floor. Maybe you need your blocks and you rest on your blocks. Okay, so there's lots of variations here. Just maintaining, keeping those hips parallel, resting your forehead to a block or the floor. Okay. So pigeon pose is working the back body of the hips. Okay, so giving stretch into all of those attachments to your hamstrings. Okay. Good. Maybe exploring drawing that heel away, just slightly away from that back leg. Might not go anywhere. It's okay if it doesn't. We're going to spend about 20 more seconds here. I'm just noticing might be some constriction in the lower back, into the glutes. Good. So from here, one's gonna ask, not quite sure how you expect me to get out of this pose. So you're gonna come back up to your hands. Okay. And what I want you to do here is curl the back toes of that left foot. And try to lift that left foot up off the floor, press into the hands. And you're gonna slowly bring the body into downward dog. Now, pigeon pose has presented a much longer left side than right, so we have to do the other side, okay? So now we're gonna come down to the knees. And we're gonna bring this left knee to the left wrist. Walk those hands slightly forward, and as you draw your left knee to that left wrist, walk that right knee away from you and try to lengthen that right leg, okay? Now kind of bring the left knee to the center and walk the toes out to the right. Beautiful. Now, find your prop, whatever it looks like. One side's usually tighter than the other. Sometimes it involves very different props. Okay, so making sure that we're not dumping into that left side, okay? We want to find sort of that equilibrium between the left and the right hip. And we're going to come to the fingertips. I want you really to press into those fingertips. Lengthen the spine, open the heart. Drop the shoulder blades and feel the length on that right side. That right hip flexor, we worked that on Tuesday, okay? And then as you forward fold today, find your block again if you need to. Come down to the forearms and rest the head. So finding sort of that balance, your body innately wants to roll to the left. It wants to sit into that left sit bone. And I really invite you to lengthen out through that right leg. Resting in the forehead here, softening through the shoulders. And finding space in this pigeon pose on the left side. Thirty more seconds. Again, to come out of this pose, curl your back toes under. Lift that leg slightly up off the floor, press into the hands, downward dog. Beautifully done, nice job. 5 breaths here in downward dog. And then from here, when you're ready, just come down to the knees. And you're gonna work yourself into a seated position this afternoon. Okay, so I want to say morning, I'm stuck. We're gonna come into Baddha Konasana pose this morning. This morning. It's okay. Okay, blanket. Take your blanket and fold it in half. And place that nice, sweet folded edge directly underneath your sit bone, so you have a little bit of a lift. Okay, so our feet are gonna start in what we call diamond pose. Okay, so our feet are further away from us. Why is that? Because most of us have really tight inner groin, inner thighs, and quadriceps, and we can't get our knees down. Okay, so the more your feet are away from you, we're gonna start with them pretty far away. Okay. Working the opening in the hips. And as you pull the feet towards you, we're trying to prevent this from happening. So if the knees are coming up, again, we investigate our blocks. And I want you to bring your feet together, take the blocks at an angle,
and bring them to your thighs. Okay, so this is helping those really tight legs, okay, press down into something. And you can continue to draw those heels towards you as much as you can. And continuing to press down into the blocks. And you can play with how high that is depending on how open it feels in your hips. Okay. Some of us are more malleable than others by nature. Just worked on that. Some of us not so much. So outer knees working down. We grab with our 2 fingers, you grab your 2 big toes and pull your toes away from each other. And press the ball mound of your feet and your heels into one another. Now, I want you also to notice what can be happening in the lower back here. We might be sort of entering into a dumping. So if that's happening, I want you to let go of your toes. And I want you to take your hands behind you. And I want you to lift your heart and lift your sit bones up and find the very tip so that you're not dumping into that back body. And start over. Okay. And then we're going to come forward. Long spine here. So we're not dumping and curving. We're actually spreading the collarbones wide and bringing the heart forward and working to press the outer knees down. So it's not a deep forward fold here. It's more of a lengthening through the sacrum, a spreading of the collarbones, and a pressing down of the outer knees. Soft chin, soft throat, soft jaw. Just find a few breaths here, maybe even close the eyes. Pulling the shoulders down away from the ears. Good. You can softly let go of the toes. And you're going to take your left leg, bring it in, and bring your right foot directly in front of your left ankle. Okay, so we're coming into a twist. Again, hands are going to go behind you. And I want you to really lift. Lift your sit bones up off of the mat and really try to find the very tip. And we're going to start by taking the right elbow to the inside of the right knee. And our left hand's going to go behind us. We're going to grow super tall through our spine and we're going to open our twist. And we're only gazing towards what would be the side wall for you guys. Okay, we're not trying to look behind us. Keep the chin fairly in line with the sternum. So we're not tweaking our neck. And I want the elbow to push into the inner knee and the inner knee to press into the elbow. Twisting from that lower navel. Okay. One more inhale. And on the exhale, you're going to revolve to center and hook the left arm around the right knee, and the right hand's going to go behind you. Lean back so that the belly can get out of the way. Good. And then sit very tall, lengthen the spine. Internal twist here. Okay. Finding our breath. Good. Then you're going to exhale to unwind. And I want you to bring shin in front of shin. Okay, so you're really going to kind of bring them so that they're parallel to one another. Find the very tips of those sit bones again. And to start with, take your blocks and place them out in front of you. Because most of us won't be able to forward fold. Okay, so all you're going to do is slide the blocks away from you. And all you're doing here is you're giving space into that lower back. Okay. And I want you to investigate flexing your feet a little more.
You should feel this down into the lower sacrum and even the attachments to the glutes. Okay. And then just pull those blocks towards you, sitting tall. You're bending your left knee. And your right foot goes behind that left foot. So we're doing the other side. Again, fingertips to the earth, lift. Left elbow to left knee, rotate open, right hand behind you. On your inhale, you're always lengthening your spine. You're trying to grow as tall as possible on an inhale. And on your exhale, I want you to imagine that deflating of a balloon. That's the twist part. So all of your organs are getting this lovely twist when you exhale. Inhale to grow tall. And on your exhale, unwind and swing the right arm around to hook the left knee. Okay, lean it back so that your belly can twist. Good. Rehook into that knee. Fingertips are behind you. Tall internal rotation. Good. On your exhale, unwind. Now you're switching your shins here. And it feels super awkward. It feels like you're doing it wrong, like the wrong side, right? So, not crisscross applesauce. So your heels aren't going back towards your sit bones. You're pressing them away so they truly are parallel to one another. And you're going to take your hands to your blocks and you're going to scoot your blocks away from you. Maybe investigate. Maybe one side's a little bit more open. And the blocks could maybe go lower. Maybe not. Okay. Maybe the blocks aren't needed. Okay, so in this, you're finding deep inhalation, deep exhalation. 10 more seconds. Beautiful. Take a deep inhale to rise. We're going to come on to our backs for our Savasana. So as you lie back today, you can put your warm cozies back on and place your bolster underneath your knees. Blanket, unfold it so that it's pretty wide, and place your head on your blanket. We're going to bring our bodies fully down into Savasana. So we're going to allow our feet to fall open. We're going to allow the legs to feel heavy as they drape over this bolster. We're going to allow the pelvis and the lower back and the sacrum. Imagine that they're turning into silly putty as they melt down into your mat. Shoulder blades drop. Heart, chest, open and wide. Back of the neck is long and the back of the head is heavy. Eyes are closed. Jaw is soft. Eyelids are heavy. That third eye space, that space in between the eyebrows softens. From here, I invite you to bring some movement into the toes and into the fingers, into the feet and the hands, and the legs and the arms, to the hips and the spine and the shoulders. And the neck. Invite the arms long overhead behind you and give one big, huge, big full body stretch from the tips of your fingers, tips of your toes. And invite those knees towards your chest, wrap the arms around the legs, give a good self hug here, roll the spine. And sweetly, safely roll over to your right side. Just take a minute on your right side. Finding the breath. Softly waking the body. And place the left hand to the earth. Use it as a support as you draw yourself all the way up to seated. From the seated position, invite the hands to heart center, Ujjayi Mudra at the heart. You bow your head. You bring honor and grace in your practice today, allowing the light to shine brightly within you and out into the rest of the world tonight. Namaste.
Namaste.